Hello, guys. It's me, Bunny Rabbit Lives, and I'm trying to be quiet again. You see, now I don't know what's gonna happen with the channel because honestly, I really enjoy doing this for y'all, but um, recently I was able to get a new job, right? And to me, that's great because I kind of wanted a new one, right? The thing is, it's full time. So in the future, I don't know about gaming live streams because like it depends on what we do. I do have to be out on the field a lot in my new job. So if I'm like exhausted, I'm not gonna have the right vibes for the stream, right? I'm super excited, guys. So yeah, that's what's going on. So um, we will see what happens. Um, regarding gameplay live streams, we will see what happens with that. So far, I feel like it's more doable for me to make reading live streams, just chatting live streams, just because like it is simpler for me. And now that I have a full time new job, like it's gonna be harder to do the let's play videos with as much energy as I do the other stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I hope y'all are staying hydrated. But honestly, I was thinking today we should finish this book. There are like 2 chapters left. I think it should be fine if I like stay up a little longer, finish this book for y'all. Um, but yeah, I think this new job that I'm getting is really gonna help me earn more and gonna ease my mind a little bit, because I think it's like the stress of monetary stuff that was making me kind of like grumpy and mean and stuff. But you know what? Hopefully this will fix it. Anyways, I think I forgot to tell y'all last stream about how how hi Henry, how are you doing? Are you doing good? I hope you're doing good. How have y'all been? I've been playing Persona 3 Reload. Oh wait, oh my god, I almost forgot to say this stuff. Hello, Alexa. How are you doing? Hi, Giga Gamer. Long time no see. Hey yo, you call me rascal? Hey. Yeah, I'm kind of a rascal sometimes. Hello. Oh, Bradley, what's going on here? Hello, Clifton. How are you doing? Are you doing good? Long time no see. How did I know it was you? Because of your profile picture and your name. You're doing good. That's good. What other games have you been playing recently? Cuz I know you like to play games as well. I've been playing Persona 3 Reload a lot, as well as Infinity Nikki Always. I've been working really hard to not spend money right now, but I had to spend some money cuz I needed to buy business casual attire or something. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Usually I'm working outside, so. You've been playing Spider-Man 2. You know what? That game actually looks so interesting. I just never got to it. Yes, Henry, you're saying I. Wait, do y'all know what song I'm referencing? I know you can't save me. I'm not singing, guys. That's me pretending to sing. I can't be loud, okay? I'm in the closet. I think the walls are paper thin in here. But yeah. Oh, I was saying, okay, so you know how torta now means something else completely from what it used to mean back in the day. Because back in the day, when somebody was like, I'm gonna pretend to do this, okay? Okay, so when somebody was like, ¿qué te importa? You would say like, come torta con tu hermana la gordota, or something like that, right? That's why I'm like, oh, should I take that like an insult or like a compliment? Or what is this? I get confused. You super, super duper, super duper. Oh, we were just talking about you, Henry. Hey, with your Spider-Man, PFD, right? Is that what it's called? PFP? What is it called, guys? I don't know. The profile picture, whatever. I'm old, okay? I don't know some of these abbreviations, okay? I'm a 1,000-year-old bunny, guys. What do y'all expect? I came from the burrow. Hello, stars? How are you doing? Do I know you? Are you stars, the stars I used to know, or are you stars, a new one? Because I think I know some of y'all. For sure, Giga Gamer. I know Giga Gamer. But, I know Alexa as well. And Clifton. I don't know about everyone else. Oh, hi, Faith. Your girl, you slay. Thank you. A. I'm glad to hear you're doing good, Stars. How about you? How are you doing, Faith? I'm doing good. I am, just here relaxing, ready to read to y'all later tonight. But yeah, what do you guys like recently? Do y'all like movies? Recently, I haven't watched many movies, but I've been really debating watching Bambi 2 because I really think that one is better than one just because of like the relationship between the father and son, and like it's a very emotional movie, you know? And then oh, you're doing school stuff? I hope you're passing your classes. Yeah, guys, y'all need to keep keep good grades, okay? Get ahead in life, okay? Give me all the money. I don't have money, sadly. That is why I had to get a new job. Hello, stars. Well, have fun relaxing, girl. I don't know. I don't know. Not right now, for real. Um, but you know what? I'm on my 5th generation of my Tamagotchi. They have to go potty. You know what? You know what? I need to. You love math? That's great. That is great. I am really bad at math. I am super bad. Hello, Thea. How are you doing? I kind of, you know what? I kind of want to call, like, I don't know if y'all heard about it, but I kind of want to get it like a dog at some point in my life. And if it's a girl, I want to call it Thea. But I want either a Chihuahua or a Shih Tzu. I don't know. I have a soft spot for small dogs. You love reading as well? I love reading, but I have too many hobbies, and sometimes I feel like I can't pick between all the things that I like to do. And that is when I like don't end up doing anything because I'm like, like, okay, I have this book that I want to read, I have this art piece that I want to make, I have this movie I want to watch, I have this game I want to play. It's like so many things. Are you a girl or a boy? I don't know. That would be up to you. Me too. I'm also bad at math. Yeah, like I used to be good when I was like a kid, but then as I got older, I started becoming like super bad at it for whatever reason. And then I started getting good at science. I was like, whoa, you know what? It it works itself out because I love people science, I love animal science, I love planet science. You are a girl. That is great to hear. Boys are cool too. Okay, so don't take that the wrong way, guys. Everyone is a person at one point or another. Yes, Henry? I'm just a bunny, guys. I'm just a bunny. For real. A girl bunny, but a bunny. How am I doing? I'm doing great. I am, I'm moving up. You know how like I did that one stream where I read chapters 10 and 12 of Don't Let the Forest In, and I was talking about how difficult my situation was at that time. And I'm getting better. I'm definitely improving, guys. So, hopefully things can only go up from here. What's your imagination? My imagination. What do you mean by that? Like, be more specific because there's many different types of imaginations. Aman, you're new. I'm glad to hear that. If you like what you see, only if you like what you see, only if you like it, you can subscribe, share, comment, like. You know what I mean? But only if you like what you see. For terms of imagination, like, you mean like planning for like the future? You mean writing stories? You mean coming up with movie ideas? What do you mean by that? And what about y'all? Like what have y'all been up to recently besides studying? Like what do y'all like to do for fun? Because you know what? Actually, I was thinking I was gonna finish Don't Let the Forest and after reading this, but I was letting y'all know that hello, Holly. How are you? How are you doing? So, I'm eating banana peels. Are they like dried? Sorry about my throat, guys. I am going through allergies right now. It's spring. I'm cooking. Hello, Story. You said please mod. I cannot mod. Oh, what do you mean, please? Like moderate? Or what do you mean by that? You got popcorn, Henry? That's great. I like doing chores. You like doing chores? That's actually really good because most people struggle to do their chores, me included. Guess what? Yes, Faith? What? Your dog went missing. Oh my goodness. Are your parents looking for it? Because when my cat went missing, I had to go out and search for him all by myself at night. Just walking around the apartment complex. I was like, oh my god. It was so scary. They are fresh. Wow. I wonder what they taste like. I've never had fresh banana peels. That would be interesting to try at some point. I am working on a test. Ooh, which one? ACT? That's what we used to take back in the day. How do you eat your popcorn, by the way, Henry? Do you take it like with tahini and like, salsa? You know what I'm saying? I'm looking around my neighbor's place. Yeah, it's better to look close by really quickly at first because the first few minutes are the most important when you're looking for your beloved fur baby. You like Sonic. Nice. You see, I tried to get into it, but when I played it on the old system at a State Farm at some point, I wasn't really good at it. Jessica, Manic movie, Sonic Underground, Sonica, Sonic Manic version. I have no idea what that is. I have no idea what Maniac is. Jack, hello, welcome. Nice to see you. How are you doing? Sorry, I got to go, but when will be urgent next live? See, at that moment, I don't know because this week and next week are gonna be super busy for me due to that new job, and having to communicate to my old job that I have to go. So I will let y'all know through a post. Sadly, this time around, I wasn't able to tell y'all that I was gonna stream today, just because I was really busy. So let me see. I love all the popcorn. That is great. Honestly, I can't really eat popcorn too often just because the kernels get stuck in my teeth. You love stars. What do you think about the sun? The sun is a great big star. Holly says they taste like if you took doggy. Oh my goodness. Holly, why are you eating something that tastes so bad? You don't have to put stuff like that in your body if you don't like the taste. Don't torture yourself like that. You posted rumbuses. You subscribed, Jack Jack. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for trying to tell me. Of course, anytime, like if I can help in any way, I will help. You know what I'm saying? Um, for example, like I wish I had help when that happened with me. I kind of did ask people for help, and thanks to them, I had like you know, the will to keep going and keep searching for my cat, and I was able to find him eventually, so that's great. Star Sun, yeah. You like the sun, me too. But only when it's not when I'm not driving. Because you're a bunny right here, I'm small. Okay? So when I drive, the sun visor does not cover my face, so I am blinded. You watch Demon Slayer. I think my boyfriend likes Demon Slayer. I I stopped so I used to be really into anime, but as soon as I graduated, I stopped watching it just because I was watching it to form a connection with people at my school. So I had joined an anime club, and that's why I was constantly watching anime at that time. Do I like pickles? I do, but a lot of people don't because they are very sour and bitter. I tend to like that. But I don't like vegetables. I just like well, I like some vegetables, but I'm more carnivorous than not. And I need to stop that honestly, but what are we gonna do? This bunny girl likes to eat meat. Cool. Yeah, OMG, I found her. Congratulations, Faith. See? See, if you stay hopeful and positive and working hard to find your pet, you will find it if you look for them quick enough. How do I animate my character? This is an app actually. It's called the Reality app. It's on the Apple Store and on Android. Do I like Undertale? Actually, I've never played it before, but I used to have friends who enjoyed it a lot. So if at some point I am able to get it, I wouldn't mind trying it. I do hear it's very hard, and I'm very bad at hard games. I don't know if y'all saw my video, my short of Vexen, but I hate Vexen. He was so hard. I get so upset when a game is too hard. Lolololololo. Hello, Fola. How are you doing? Nah. Well, one time I did eat a bunny, but I didn't do it on purpose. Okay, my parents gave it to me. It was my pet, and I was sad when I found out. Okay, so don't judge me. Do I play Roblox? I do not play Roblox. I play other kinds of indie games. Yeah. I play stuff like, Slime Rancher and stuff like, Bug Snacks and stuff like, um what other games do I play? Little Nightmares, the Dark Anthology series. It wasn't on purpose. My parents fed them to me. What's my name? My name is Bunny Rabbit Lives. Or are you talking about the game that I was talking about? I love Slime Rancher too. Actually, I have Slime Rancher 2 right now on my PlayStation. I've been really focused on what's it called? Nah, nah, Holly, I ain't evil. Not yet. Mm, dramatically cries. But I also love Slime Rancher. I did a whole stream of it at some point, the original Slime Rancher. So if y'all are interested in that, there is a playlist on my channel for that series that I streamed back in the day. But honestly guys, I make playlists of everything. If anything is out of a playlist, I probably need to fix that too. I think there are some um games that are not in playlists which I need to work on. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much, Holly. I built it myself. I'm telling my friend you eat bunnies. She will be devastated. No, Jack, I don't eat bunnies actually. That was back when I was a baby. I was a kid. I didn't know any better. No, about the game, which was how to. Oh, this one is called Reality. And the application has like a rhombus shape on it, I think, and it's blue and purple. But yeah. Uh-huh. Nuh-uh. But yeah, guys. Are y'all trying to be VTubers as well? It's actually, guys, if y'all I also have like a tutorial on how to make thumbnails and stuff on here if y'all are interested. That's on the video section. But you're suspicious? What do you mean? What 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 makes you suspicious? Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. But yeah. Anyways, I live in your. It must be somebody else. I do hear people back there, but it must be somebody else. But honestly, guys, about the gaming live streams, they might not be coming for a while just because I did get a full-time job. So I might have to stick to reading live streams and just chatting live streams, sadly, for the time being. Hello, Sophia. Yes, you called me. I did it. I downloaded it. I hope you have fun. Actually, be careful. It is actually rated teen, I think. So there's a lot of like weirdos actually on this app, which is why I don't really stream on the app itself. Um But there's also really nice people. So it depends. You really have to like, weed out the bad stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like don't get into like weird spaces. I try my best to stay out of those weird spaces in there, which is why yeah, I don't really stream on the reality app, but I do stream here on YouTube using it as a, you see? Like that. Just in my room and stuff, sitting in front of y'all chatting. But yeah. Anyways, do y'all have any funny jokes? I actually am not a very jokester person. I know people on my Discord who do like jokes a lot. I personally am really bad at making jokes. Um I'm more I'm more of a situational like humor person. But yeah, guys. And so, with that being said, guys, I have like one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Wait, no, just 26 pages to read today. Oh, jeez. Oh, how does a tree use the internet? I'm gonna say the web. Am I right or am I wrong? Hello, Faith! Welcome back! Please, what, Holly? What do you need? What do you need? Do. It logs in. Oh my god. Alright, stars, thank you for stopping by. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already, and stay hydrated. Okay? Remember, guys, it's healthy to stay hydrated. My allergies are popping off. Jeez. Oh, Jeremy, I am not sharing my real age. I will say I am 1,000 years old. I am Bunny, and I'm 1,000 years old. Just kidding. But honestly, you shouldn't really share your real age online, anyways. Hello, Sean. You don't know what to do on a live? You just chat with people when you do a live, and if there's not people on the live stream to chat with, you can just chat with yourself, you know, like you can make a plan about what topics to talk about, you know, while people are getting here and stuff. That's what I do. I talk to myself when that happens. Dang, hell yeah. Hell yeah, I am. We cool, you know? Bunny dinosaurs are cool. You know what I'm saying? Wow, you should say hi to... Wait, what? Where is he? I didn't see him comment. What do you mean? I don't see a Jesus comment right here. KK. Julian. Go touch grass, lol. Wait, for who? For who, Julian? Oh, yeah. I'm over here opalized and stuff. Look, if you were a nerd, you would get my joke. If you were nerd enough, you would get my joke. Okay, fine. I'll explain the joke since y'all need me to. Just kidding. Weston, am I in VR? I am not. I am in reality. It's a streaming platform on the Apple Store and the Android Store, the App Store. Honestly, I think it's on PC too, but only if you like, I don't know, make it like a desktop version. I don't know. I don't really know how that works, but I know somebody who was able to do it. I would look it up if that's what you're interested in. Okay, so the joke is that, you know, I said, hell yeah, I'm opalized because sometimes, because of the pressure that fossils go through to become fossils, they can start to grow opal in them. You know what I'm saying? And opal is a very nice, shiny stone, which I find very pretty. I like opals. Do like Lilo and Stitch? I can't. I don't know how to do that. I know how to do Bunny Rabbit Lives. That's all I know how to do. No, but really, honestly, that is all I know how to do. I mean, like, I could try to voice it, but I don't think I'm good enough, brother. Nah. It didn't work. Hey, it didn't work. You ever heard about... I have not heard about it. Oh, you said do I like? Okay, that's what you meant. Okay, sorry. I misunderstood. I do like Lilo and Stitch. I like the old animated one. And then I think there was a show too with the girl, Stitch. I don't remember much about it, but I remember the yellow one that liked to make sandwiches. Um, I thought it was really cute, but I haven't seen the live action one, sadly. I mean, at some point I could, but I don't know. You ever heard about that show? I have not heard about that show. Hello, Ellis. How are you doing? Are you doing good? I can chat until I'm gonna say 9, and then I'll start reading, guys, cuz I have to go to sleep early because I have orientation tomorrow. No, but yeah. Are you doing good, Ellis? I need to check on my baby. They are hungry. Your cousin is not Snoop Dogg. Nah, that's impossible. Just kidding. I don't know. I don't know. I would not believe that right away unless I heard it from the guy himself, you know? But yeah, guys. I do have to do orientation tomorrow, and I like the environment there. It's really positive. So I'm excited. You are not doing good. Oh, that's sad. I hope things get better for you, Alice. I don't know what your situation is, and if you're not comfortable sharing, you do not have to. Hello, Jacob. Do I believe in God? I do, but I am agnostic, meaning I don't have a dominion. So I'm not going to say I'm Christian, I'm not going to say I'm Catholic, I'm not going to say I'm a Jehovah's Witness. I used to be a Jehovah's Witness actually, but I left that one, but I do believe in God. I'm just agnostic. Because I don't like how normal views on God are really dark and sad. Random question. Can you solve a Rubik's Cube? I cannot, cold hands. I cannot solve a Rubik's Cube. I tried before, and it did not work out well for me. Hello! I will call you Lucy. Yeah. What about you? Do you believe in him? I kind of like to hear about other people's beliefs as well and why they believe in those things. I am a very open-minded person in terms of like all of that. I'm very also like I'm not gonna say easy to convince, but I'm easy to like um understand your belief. Like you know what I'm saying? I'm easy to like, oh, I believe the sky is pink, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's pink when it's sunsetting. You know what I mean? When the sun is setting, the sky turns pink sometimes. Or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be like, yeah, it's pink forever, but it can be pink sometimes. Hello, silly scissors. How are you doing? Hi. Ellis. So my family members passed away. One of my family members was passed away on Christmas, but Uncle Stanley. Oh, Ellis. Oh, you're a troll, aren't you? Aren't you? I'm glad to hear you're doing good. What have you been up to? I hope you've been up to only good things, and if you are up to mischievous things, I hope you do not get in trouble. Hello, Nestor. How are you doing? Hi. Oh, interesting. See, my boyfriend says he's Wiccan as well, Ellis. So, like, it's my birthday, and hear me out, but can you please sing me happy birthday? Yeah, of course. Hold on. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna call you Scissors, because Skizzers is kind of hard. But, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Silly Scissors. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Your pants are short. Mm, that's how you know. Of course, you're welcome. Over here, we like to celebrate people, you know what I mean? So, yeah, happy birthday, and I hope you have a great day. Yeah, I'm glad I made your day. Yeah, I, I, I am not ready for my next birthday, actually. Hey. Can I subscribe? If you like what you see, if you like what I believe, if you believe in my message and what I want to spread, and also if you believe in like, being kind to everyone, for the most part, I understand we're all human and we do get upset, then yeah, feel free to subscribe. And also like, comment, and share and subscribe if you have not already. Thank you. Hello, Olivia. How are you doing? Are you doing good? Olivia, fan of Demon Slayer. Hey, I think my friend uh is also a Demon Slayer fan. I'm doing good. What about you? I am doing good as well. I am doing great. I am thinking about finishing editing the video for the 400 subscriber special. I have something planned for y'all. I just need to like set up the well, this my avatar talking in the background. You love Demon Slayer. Nice. Yeah. I love to celebrate with y'all, so I try to like plan little cute stuff. You watched the movie. See, that's what happened with me and My Hero Academia, actually. My Hero Academia, I wanted to collect the manga, but I kind of had to take a break because manga's getting kind of expensive. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but it is getting expensive. And so I was to pause it, right? And then I bought like two or three of the movies and I watched those. You are 11. Well, that's great to know. I don't know how to respond to that, Nestor. Olivia, I am biting my pen right now. Are you eating the ink? Don't do that. Mm-mm. It's bad for you. Oh, I don't think a Demon Slayer is a rated R movie. I think at most it should be rated like T for teen, which you are not old enough to watch still. Hope you hit 1K soon. Thank you so much, the pets. Is that a reference to the Nintendo DS game? Do you know what I'm talking about, the pets? Cause I used to love those games. I had pets hamsters, I had pets horses too. I had pets dogs fashion, I had pets dogs. I love pet games. No, the pen is a bunny, so I'm biting the bunny's ears. Oh no! Why would you do that? Why would you eat a bunny's ears? You're scaring me. Just kidding. It is the movie. Yeah, Olivia's munching on a pen. Honestly, I used to when I was a kid, but I had to stop. And then I started tapping a lot. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a bunny, bunnies tap a lot. Yeah. Did y'all know that bunnies stomp when they're upset? I don't know if y'all know that, but I didn't know that. It's not common knowledge for me. So I did not know that bunnies like to stomp when they're upset. Hey, don't judge me for biting my pen. Don't worry. It was only for a short time. It was I wasn't judging you. It's fine. Welcome back, Lucy. How are you doing? What were you up to? Yes, I know. You love anime. I used to. Right now, I own the first season of Taliban Hanako-kun. I really like shonen and shoujo manga and anime, but I don't really buy anime. I buy more manga. Cassie, hello, welcome. You're becoming a PNG tuber. I'm happy that you started on your journey, and I hope that you have as much fun as I do. Thank you, Olivia. I am trying my best. Actually, this came naturally. I don't know. But thank you. I really appreciate that. Nestor, I will tell you, I am I am an opalized bunny. Yes, that is what I will say. I have a little clicky keyboard keychain to keep me from tapping my pen. You know what? Those are so cute. I have recently seen them at Five Below, and I've been debating like getting one of those like little clicky things for the keyboard, like the little portable keys or whatever. I think they're really cute. Hello, Elsie. How are you doing? Nestor, please stop asking. Please. OMGA. I love Taliban Hanako-kun. I have 1 through 7 mangas. Yes, same actually. That's exactly what I oh, I need to be quiet. It's night. Anyways, I also have 1 through 7. I need to keep collecting them all because I want to see the ending so bad. Hello, a fake person. Nice to see you again. Welcome. How are you doing? Hi, Elise. How who Hi? Dude, can you stop spamming? Yes, Nestor, please stop spamming. If you continue, I will have to put you on timeout. Sorry. Um, I meant to put Taliban Hanako-kun, my bad. It's fine. Silly scissors. I understood what you were trying to say. Gee, I guess what? Yes? Okay, sorry. Thank you, Nestor. LC says, worried seal? You said worried seal? Olivia says, my home screen is a Hello Kitty with a gun. Oh my god. You know what? Perfect vibes, perfect vibes. Because mine is just like sparkly clouds. Oh, I think I'm being a little loud. A fake person says, good, sorry, I couldn't tune in this week. I was doing testing. No worries, a fake person. You know, as long as you do good in your studies, that's all that matters, right? Because, you know, you gotta get your stuff done, and, you know, that takes priority. Y'all need to look after yourselves first. It's okay, Nestor. Guess what? It's chicken butt. Yeah. You know what, silly scissors? I know somebody who jokes like that with me all the time. You're fine, Nestor. You don't have to get upset. You're okay. Hello, John Luna. Long time no see. How you doing? I hope y'all are doing good. Thank you for the number ones. So, do you watch Hunger X Hunter? I started watching it and I wasn't able to finish it because it's a very long series, right? And I have a lot of hobbies. So sometimes I just get paralyzed and I like start, you know, like doom scrolling. So see, either I edit videos, I edit thumbnails, I plan streams, I read books, I watch movies, I make art. I have a lot of stuff that like stops me from seeing a lot of long series, especially One Piece. It kind of scares me. I got a 1450 on my SAT. Oh my god. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that sounds good. Sorry. It's been so long. Thank you, Nestor. Thank you. I'm at Hunter x Hunter. See, I was like, I knew what you were talking about. Don't worry, Olivia. The highest is 1600. You did so good then. You're smart then. Me, I think I barely passed. Wait, what's the like barely passing score? Cause I think I remember like I got a 1,300 something back in the day, but I can't really remember too well. I think I was like, you know, yay, Nestor. What games do you like to play, Nestor? But yeah, that sounds like very smart. I was kind of embarrassed because I said Hunger X Hunter. Don't worry about it, Olivia. We all fumble our words sometimes. I fumble a lot with my words. I don't know if y'all hear it, but sometimes my Spanish accent comes out or my random accents that I learned from watching videos come out and they mix with like what I'm saying and it makes it sound weird. Thank you, Nestor. Every question is every question wrong is 200. That's 200. How do you know? That 200 for 0 questions right is crazy. That's good to hear, Nestor. I hope that y'all have fun playing games and holding hands. Yeah. Where am I from? I'm actually from Mexico, but I got Americanized. So I've been living here in the, USA for a long time, so I, adapted. What we people do best. If you get every question wrong, it's a 200. That is actually so crazy. I would think you would get like a 0, but I did not know that. They're very forgiving then. Oh, okay, no worries. No worries, Nestor. Yeah, insane. Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of cheating though? Like giving somebody who got everything wrong 200? It's like when somebody participates and they're like in last place and they give them like a pity reward, like those like, oh, at least they tried. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I am. Silly sisters. When do you do your live so I can watch you? See, recently I got a new job and I still have to attend my other job for the last time this week. So I'm probably not gonna be able to stream this week. And it's probably gonna be like next week coming and then only on weekends. Or maybe like when I'm less tired than usual, that's when I will be able to stream. Don't worry, I will let y'all know in my community posts when that is. If I remember, if I'm not exhausted and I forget. Sorry. I'm on my period, so my stomach is kind of hurting. Right? I don't know. For me, it's not like it doesn't hurt all the time. For me, it like hurts really bad only on like the first or second day, and then it goes away. I don't really get cramps too often. But when I do, it feels like somebody's stabbing me for like a second and then like twisting it and pulling out really quick. It's weird. I'm like, why does it hurt for a second and then not again? It's weird. You start with 400. Start with 400 if you get at least some right. That's crazy. That is so crazy. Are you planning to go to college? I kind of wish I could go to college, but it's really expensive. Oh, I like your surrounds. My surroundings? What's a serum? I hope you feel better soon, Olivia. For real, for real. Yeah, I hope you feel better soon. Have you tried drinking tea? Sometimes drinking tea works. Like if you drink tea, or like if you sit in a certain position or something. What I do is like I just eat, cause sometimes it only hurts when I don't eat right. But it's rare, okay, guys. Don't think I'm over here not taking care of myself. I am taking care of myself, okay? Bye bye, Nestor. Oh, you like my streams. Thank you so much. I try my best. Thank you, silly. I know, I know. And then what's it called? So yeah. Honestly, guys, about the gaming streams, I don't know when that will be possible. So I might have to stick to the reading ones if that's the only energy I have, or just chatting ones for y'all, so that we can have like funny conversations, or like talk about the current events, or talk about whatever we're comfortable talking with at the time. It depends on how I wake up, what kind of topics I come up with. You know what I'm saying? Are y'all staying hydrated? What came first, the chicken or the egg? I have no idea. I would say honestly, if you were to tell me, I would say the cell came first. So doesn't there have to be like an organism first? It can't, like, you can't make matter out of nothing, right? So something must have like accumulated and formed a chicken at some point, and then the egg, right? I don't know. I have no idea about that. I plan to go to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. Wow, that sounds very advanced. Very, very advanced. Is that real, or are you playing with me? That's a very long name for a university. Oh, alright, Olivia, thank you for stopping by. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Stay hydrated, and bye. Thank you for chatting with me. Probably the de-evolution. Yeah, it's real. See, I don't know, because I'm like, wait, what's real? Oh, your school, yeah. Probably de-evolution. Is that a Digimon reference? Thank you, Olivia. Don't forget, guys, I will start reading the last two chapters of The Last Unicorn at 9. Mm. Because I used to like Digimon, guys. Like, when I was a kid, I also liked Pokemon. I kind of liked everything. I liked, I've always liked virtual pets. So if you, like, show me a virtual pet that you have, I might be like, oh my goodness. Because right now, I have a Tamagotchi, right? And I'm surprised it hasn't gone to bed yet. But, you know what I mean? They are a teen now. Um, I used to have another Tamagotchi. I had a V.4, I think. And that one I gave away to one of my friends for their birthday. And I never saw it again. And I regret it. Um, I really want to be a commercial pilot. And if I don't make it, I'm going to the Air Force. Oh my gosh. You're going to the Air Force? Are you sure about that? Aren't you, like, scared to, go to, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't scare you. For me, honestly, I guess I'm just making money now. But I wanted to be a conservationist at some point in my life. Um, help those endangered species, set systems to protect both people and the planet. But I don't think I will be able to make that dream a reality. So I'm just making money. Just working, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's all you can do with the life that, the cards you got dealt. But other times you can't give up, It depends on the day. Sometimes I'm like, I'm not giving up. I'm gonna get this done. And other days, it's a battle that you have to do with yourself. How bad do you want it? You know what I'm saying? I would say don't give up on your dreams, but I'm opalized, so you know what I'm saying? I know how life is. With how advanced technology is with all the tax payments, I'm not really afraid. Alright, well, I hope that you're able to become a commercial pilot, a fake person. It would be sad to see that happen. Silly Scissors, I'm back. What did I miss? I just went to go grab dinner. You didn't miss much. We were just talking about virtual pets and dreams, work dreams. What do you want to be when you get older? Silly Scissors, or when you have the chance? Have y'all thought about that? Have y'all like, gone back to what y'all used to want to be when y'all were a kid and think back and you're like, wow. I don't know, cuz back when I was younger, I wanted to be so many things. I wanted to be a ballerina, I wanted to be an artist, I wanted to be a professional racetrack star. I wanted to be a tractor driver. I wanted to be an actress, I wanted to be a singer, I wanted to anime, I wanted to make games. I had so many dreams, guys. So many. An animator or a comic artist. You know what? I hope that you're able to fulfill your dreams too. You know? Self-expression is really important. It helps you stay sane, especially in these times. So, yeah. Mhm. Guys, don't forget to grab your drinks, okay? Y'all stay hydrated. And yeah, if y'all are hungry, y'all should eat too. Don't, starve yourselves to watch me. Y'all should take care of yourselves. What should we be calling you, by the way? You could call me Bunny, or you could call me, um, Bunny Rabbit, or you could call me Bunny Rabbit Lives. You could honestly call me whatever you would like, as long as it has something to do with bunnies. Because, like, you know, I don't share my real name on here. It is not safe. Because, like, back in the day, you had all these, like, scary videos that would show you, like, I think they called them PSA videos, and they would show, like, the scariest scenarios to, like, online stuff, and also, like, silly bunny. Alrighty. Thank you. I am a little silly sometimes, so it honestly it matches. But wait, where was I? I forgot what I was saying. Sometimes I forget. Guys, sometimes you see like last time when I forgot to tell y'all about that old thing that happens. Oh gosh. It was in the beginning of the live stream. um I don't know. But you know what I do know? I will have to start reading. And once I finish, it will probably be too late to continue chatting. So I will probably have to end the stream after I finish reading these 2 chapters. And then from then on, I will have to see, and I will have to finish showing y'all this what's it called? The video for the 400 subscribers. And I'm really excited. So, yeah. Don't forget to stay hydrated. I will start reading in 1, 2, 3, and the way was wide enough for all of them to walk abreast, but they went one by one. The Lady Amelinthia walked in front by her own choosing, Prince Lurch, Medric, and Molly Grew following, had only her hair for a lantern, but she herself had no light before her at all. Yet she went on as easily as though she had been this way before. Where they truly were, they never knew. The cold wind seemed real, as did the cold reek that rode it, and the darkness let them pass far more grudgingly than had the clock. The path itself was enough of a fact to bruise feet, and to be partly choked in places by real stones and real earth that had crumbled down the sides of the cave. but its course was the impossible way of a dream, pitched and skewed, rounding on itself, now dropping almost sheer, now seeming to rise a little, not, oh, now working out, and slowly down, and now wandering back to take them, perhaps once again below the great hall where old King Haggard must still be raging over a toppled clock and a shivered skull. Witchwork, surely, Schmedrick thought, and nothing made by a witch is real, at last. Then he added, but this must be the last. It will all be real enough if this is not the last. As they stumbled along, he hurriedly told Prince Lur the tale of their adventures, beginning with his own strange history and stranger doom, recounting the ruin of the Midnight Carnival and his flight with the unicorn, and continuing through their meeting with Molly Grew, the journey to Hagsgate, and Drin's story of the double curse on the town and the tower. Here he halted, for beyond lay the night of the Red Bull, a night that ended, for good or ill, with magic, and with a naked girl who struggled in her body, like a cow in quicksand. He hoped that the prince would be more interested in learning of his heroic birth than in the origins of the Lady Amalithea. Prince Lur marveled suspiciously, which is an awkward thing to manage. I have known for a very long time that the king is not my father, he said, but I tried hard to be his son all the same. I'm the enemy of any who plot against him, and it would take more than a crone's differing to make me work his downfall. As for the other, I think there are no unicorns anymore, and I know that King Haggard has never seen one. How could any man who had looked upon a unicorn even once, let alone thousands, with every tide, possibly be as sad as King Haggard is? Why, if I had only seen her once, and never again. Now he himself paused in some confusion, for he also felt that the talk was going on to some sorrow from which it could never be called back. Molly's neck and shoulders were listening intently, but if the Lady Malinthia could hear what the two men were saying, she gave no sign. Yet the king has a joy hidden somewhere about his life, Schmedrick pointed out. Have you never seen a trace of it, truly? Never seen its track in his eyes? I have. I think for a moment, Prince Lur. The prince was silent, and they wound further into the foul dark. They could not always tell whether they were climbing or descending, nor sometimes if the passage were bending once again, until the gnarly nearness of stone and their shoulders suddenly became the bleak rake of a wall against their faces. There was not the smallest sound of the Red Bull, or any glimmer of the wicked light, but when Schmedrick touched his damp face, the smell of the bowl came off on his fingers. Prince Lur said, sometimes, when he has been on the tower, there is something in his face. Not a light, exactly, but a clearness. I remember, I was little, and he never looked like that when he looked at me, or at anything else. And I had a dream. He was walking very slowly now, scuffing his feet. I used to have a dream, he said. The same dream over and over, about standing at my window in the middle of the night and seeing the bull, seeing the Red Bull. He did not finish. Seeing the Red Bull driving unicorns into the sea, Schmedrick said. It was no dream. Haggard has them all now drifting in and out on the tides for his delight, all but one. The magician drew a deep breath. That one is the Lady Amalithea. Yes, Prince Lur answered him. Yes, I know. Schmedrick stared at him. What do you mean, you know? He demanded angrily. How could you possibly know that the Lady Amelinthia is a unicorn? She can't have told you, because she doesn't remember it herself. Since you took her fancy, she has thought only of being a mortal woman. He knew quite well that the truth was the other way around, but it made no difference to him just then. "How do you know?" he asked again. Prinsleur stopped walking and turned to face him. It was too dark for Schmendrick to see anything but the cool, milky shining where his wide eyes were. "I did not know what she was until now," he said. "But I knew the first time I saw her that she was something more than I could see. Unicorn, mermaid, lamia, sorceress, gorgon. No name you give her would surprise me, or frighten me. I love whom I love." "That's a very nice sentiment," Schmendrick said. "But when I change her back into her true self, so that she may do battle with the Red Bull and free her people—" "I love whom I love," Prinsleur repeated firmly. "You have no power over anything that matters." Before the magician could reply, the Lady Amelinthia was standing between them, though neither man had seen or heard her as she came back along the passageway. In the darkness she gleamed and trembled like running water. She said, "I will go no further." It was to the prince that she spoke, but it was Schmendrick who said, "There's no choice. We can only go on." Molly came nearer, one anxious eye and the pale start of a cheekbone. The magician said again, "We can only go on." The Lady Amelinthia would not look straight at him. "He must not change me," she said to Prinsleur. "Do not let him work his magic on me. The bull has no care for human beings. He may walk out past him. We may walk out past him and get away. It is a unicorn the bull wants. Tell him not to change me into a unicorn." Prinsleur twisted his fingers until they cracked. Schmendrick said, "It is true. We might very well escape the Red Bull that may even now. Oh, wait, my bad. We might very well escape the Red Bull that way even now, as we escaped before. But if we do, there will never be another chance. All the unicorns of the world will remain his prisoners forever, except one, and she will die. She will grow old and die." "Everything dies," she said to Prinsleur. "It is good that everything dies. I want to die when you die. Don't let him enchant me. Do not let him make me immortal. I am no unicorn, no magical creature. I am human, and I love you." He answered her, saying gently, "I don't know much about enchantments, except how to break them." He answered her, saying gently, "I don't know much about enchantments, except how to break them. But I know that even the very greatest wizards are powerless against two who keep to each other. And this one is only poor Schmendrick, after all. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of anything. Whatever you have been, you are mine now. I can hold you." She turned to look at the magician at last, and even through the darkness he could feel the terror in her eyes. "No," she said. "No, we are not strong enough. He will change me, and whatever happens after that, you and I will lose each other. I will not love you when I am a unicorn, and you will love me only because you cannot help it. I will be more beautiful than anything in the world and live forever." Schmendrick began to speak, but the sound of his voice made her cower like a candle flame. "I will not have it. I will not have it so." She was looking back and forth from the prince to the magician, holding her voice together like the edges of a wound. She said, "If there is left a single moment of love when he changes me, you will know it, for I will let the Red Bull drive me into the sea with the others. Then at last I will be near you." "There is no need for all that." Svendrik spoke lightly, making himself laugh. "I doubt I could turn you back if you wished it. Nikos himself never could turn a human being into a unicorn, and you are truly human now. You can love and fear and forbid things to be what they are, and overact. Let it end here, then. Let the quest end. Is the world any the worse for losing the unicorns? And would it be any better if they were running free again? One good woman more in the world is worth every single unicorn gone. Let it end. Marry the prince and live happily ever after." The passageway seemed to be growing lighter, and Schmendrick imagined the Red Bull stealing toward them, grotesquely cautious, setting his hoofs down as primly as a heron. The thin glimmer of Molly Grew's cheekbone went out as she turned her face away. "Yes," said the Lady Amalanthea, "that is my wish." But at that moment Prince Lur said, "No." The word escaped him as suddenly as a sneeze, emerging in a questioning squeak. The voice of a silly young man mortally embarrassed by a rich and terrible gift. "No," he repeated, and this time the word told in another voice, a king's voice, not haggard, but a king whose grief was not for what he did not have, but for what he could not give. "My lady," he said, "I am a hero. It is a trade, no more, like weaving or brewing, and like them it has its own tricks and knacks and small arts. There are ways of perceiving witches, and of knowing poison streams. There are certain weak spots that all dragons have, and certain riddles that hooded strangers tend to set you. But the true secret of being a hero lies in knowing the order of things. The swineherd cannot already be wed to the princess when he embarks on his adventures, nor can the one second, guys, I need water. Mm-hmm. Yes. Everyone stay hydrated. Okay? The swineherd cannot already be wed. The swineherd cannot already be wed to the princess when he embarks on his adventures, nor can the boy knock on the witch's door when she is away on vacation. The wicked uncle cannot be found out and foiled before he does something wicked. Things must happen when it is time for them to happen. Quests may not simply be abandoned. Prophecies may not be left to the rot like unpicked fruit. Unicorns may go unrescued for a long time, but not forever. The happy ending cannot come in the middle of the story. The Lady Amalanthea did not answer him. Schmendrick asked, "Why not? Says who?" "Heroes," Prince Lur replied sadly. "Heroes know about order, about happy endings. Heroes know that some things are better than others. Carpenters know grains and shingles and straight lines." He put his hands out to the Lady Amalanthea and took one step toward her. She did not draw back from him, nor turn her face. Indeed, she lifted her head higher, and it was the prince who looked away. "You were the one who taught me," he said. "I never looked at you without seeing the sweetness of the way the world goes together, or without sorrow for its spoiling. I became a hero to serve you, and all that is like you. Also to find some way to start a conversation. But the Lady Amelinthia spoke no word to him. Pale as slime, the brightness was rising in the cavern. They could see one another clearly now, each gaunt, tallowy, and strange with fear. Even the beauty of the Lady Amelinthia drained away under that dull, hungry light. She looked more mortal than any of the other three. "The bull is coming," Prince Lur said. He turned to set off down the passageway, taking the bold, eager strides of a hero. The Lady Amelinthia followed him, walking as lightly and proudly as princesses are taught to try to walk. Molly Grew stayed close to the magician, taking his hand as she had been used to touch the unicorn when she was lonely. He smiled down at her, looking quite pleased with himself. Molly said, "Let her stay the way she is. Let her be." "Tell that to Lur," he replied cheerfully. "Was it I who said that the order is all? Was it I who said that she must challenge the Red Bull because it will be more proper and precise that way? I have no concern for regulated rescues and official happy endings. That's Lur." "But you made him do it," she said. "You know that all he wants in the world is to have her give up her quest and stay with him. And he would have done it. But you reminded him that he's a hero, and now he has to do what heroes do. He loves her, and you tricked him." "I never," Schmendrick said. "Be quiet, he'll hear you." Molly felt herself growing lightheaded, silly with the nearness of the bull. The light and the smell had become a sticky sea in which she floundered like the unicorns, hopeless and eternal. The path was beginning to tilt downward into the deepening light, and far ahead Prince Lur and the Lady Amelinthia went marching along to disaster as calmly as candles burning down. Molly Grew snickered. She went on, "I know why you did it, too. You can't become mortal yourself until you change her back again. Isn't that it? You don't care what happens to her, or to the others, just as long as you become a real magician at last. Isn't that it? Well, you'll never be a real magician, even if you change the bull into a bullfrog, because it's still just a trick when you do it. You don't care about anything but magic, and what kind of magic a magician is at, Schmendrick? I don't feel good. I have to sit down." Schmendrick must have carried her for a time, because he was definitely not walking, and his green eyes were ringing in her head. "That's right. Nothing but magic matters to me. I would round up unicorns for Hagrid myself if it would heighten my power by half a hair. It's true. I have no preferences and no loyalties. I have only magic." His voice was hard and sad. "Really?" she asked, rocking dreamily in her terror, watching the brightness flowing by. "That's awful." She was very impressed. "Are you really like that?" "No," he said, then or later. "No, it's not true. How could I be like that and still have all these troubles?" Then he said, "Molly, you have to walk now. He's there. He's there." Molly saw the horns first. The light came the light made her cover her face, but the pale horns struck bitterly through the hands and eyelids to the back of her mind. She saw Prince Lur and the Lady Amelinthia standing before the horns, while the fire flourished on the walls of the cavern and soared up into the roofless dark. Prince Lur had drawn his sword, but it blazed up in his hand, and he let it fall, and it broke like ice. The Red Bull stamped his foot, and everyone fell down. Schmendrick had thought to find the bull waiting in his lair, or in some wide place with room enough to do battle, but he had come silently up the passageway to meet them, and now he stood across their sight, not only from one burning wall to the other, but somehow in the walls themselves, and beyond them, bending away forever. Yet he was no mirage, but the Red Bull still, steaming and snuffling, shaking his blind head. His jaws chomped, chomped over his breath with a terrible wallowing sound. Now's the time, whether I work ruin or great good. This is the end of it. The magician rose slowly to his feet, ignoring the bull, listening only to his cupped self, as to a seashell. But no power stirred or spoke in him. He could hear nothing but the far, thin howling of emptiness against his ear, as old King Haggard must have heard it, waking and sleeping, and never another sound. It will not come to me. Nichols was wrong. I am what I seem. The Lady Amelinthia had stepped back a pace from the bull, but no more, and she was regarding him quietly as he pawed with his front feet and snorted great, rumbling, rainy blasts out of his vast nostrils. He seemed puzzled about her, and almost foolish. He did not roar. Lady Amelinthia stood in his freezing light with her head tipped back to see all of him. Without turning her head, she put her hand out to find Prince Lur's hand. Good, good. There's nothing I can do. And I am glad of it. The bull will let her by, and she will go away with Lur. It is as right as anything. I am only sorry about the unicorns. The prince had not yet noticed her offered hand, but in a moment he would turn and see, and touch her for the first time. He will never know what she has given him, but neither will she. The Red Bull lowered his head and charged. He came without warning, with no sound but the rip of his hoofs, and if he had chosen, he could have crushed all four of them in that one silent onslaught. But he let them scatter before him and flatten themselves into the wrinkled walls, and he went by without harming them, though he might easily have horned them out of their shallow shelters, like so many periwinkles. Subtle as fire, he turned where there was no room to turn, and met them again, his muzzle almost touching the ground, his neck swelling like a wave. It was then that he roared. They fled, and he followed, not as swiftly as he had charged, but quickly enough to keep each one alone, friendless, in the wild dark. The ground tore under their feet, and they cried out, but they could not even hear themselves. Every bellow of the Red Bull brought great slides of stones and earth shuddering down on them, and still they scrambled along like broken insects, and still he came after them. Through his mad blaring they heard another sound, the deep whine of the castle itself as it strained at its roots, drumming like a flag in the wind of his wrath. And very faintly there drifted up the passageway the smell of the sea. He knows, he knows. I fooled him once that way, but not again. Woman or unicorn, he will haunt her. He will hunt her into the sea this time, as he was bidden, and no magic of mine will turn him from it. Haggard has won. So the magician thought as he ran, all hope gone for the first time in his long, strange life. The way widened suddenly, and they emerged into a kind of grotto that could only have been the bull's den. The stench of his sleeping hung so thick and old here that it had a loathy sweetness about it, and the cave brooded, gullet red, as though his light had rubbed off on the walls and crusted in the cracks and crevices. Beyond lay the tunnel again, and the dim gleam of breaking water. The Lady Melinthia fell as irrevocably as a flower breaks. Schmendrick leaped to one side, wheeling to drag Molly with him. They brought up hard against a split of slab of rock, and there they crouched together as the Red Bull raged by without turning. But he came to a halt between one stride and the next, and then the sudden stillness, broken only by the bull's breathing and the distant grinding of the sea, would have been absurd but for the cause of it. She lay on her side with one leg bent beneath her. She moved slowly, but she made no sound. Prince Lur stood between her body and the bull, weaponless, but with his hands up as though they still held a sword and shield. Once more in that endless night the prince said, "No." He looked very foolish, and he was about to be trampled flat. The Red Bull could not see him, and would kill him without ever knowing that he had been in the way. Wonder and love and great sorrow shook Schmendrick the magician then, and came together inside him and filled him until he felt himself brimming and flowing with something that was none of these. He did not believe it, but it came to him anyway, as it had touched him twice before and left him more barren than he had been. This time, there was too much of it for him to hold. It spilled through his skin, sprang from his fingers and toes, welled up equally in his eyes and his hair and the hollows of his shoulders. There was too much to hold, too much ever to use, and still he found himself weeping with the pain and his impossible greed. He thought, or said, or sang, "I did not know that I was so empty to be so full." The Lady Melinthia lay where she had fallen, though now she was trying to rise. The Prince Lur still guarded her, raising his naked hands against the enormous shape that loomed over him. The tip of the prince's tongue stuck out of one corner of his mouth, making him look as serious as a child taking something apart. Long years later, when Schmendrick's name had become a greater name than Nico's and worse than Afret's, surrendered at the sound of it. He was never able to work the smallest magic without seeing Prince Lur before him. His eyes squinted up because of the brightness and his tongue sticking out. The Red Bull stamped again, and Prince Lur fell on his face and got up bleeding. The bull's rumble began, and the blind, bloated head started down, lowering like one half of the scales of doom. Lur's valiant heart hung between the pale horns, as good as dripping from their tips, himself as good as smashed and scattered, and his mouth buckled a little, but he never moved. The sound of the bull grew louder, and the horns went down. Then Schmendrick stepped into the open and said a few words. They were short words, undistinguished, either by melody or harshness, and Schmendrick himself could not hear them for the Red Bull's dreadful bawling. But he knew what they meant, and he knew exactly how to say them, and he knew that he could say them again when he wanted to, in the same way or in a different way. Now he spoke them gently and with joy, and as he did so, he felt his immortality fall from him like armor, or like a shroud. At the first word of the spell, the Lady Melinthia gave a thin, bitter cry. She reached out again to Prince Lur, but he had his back to her, protecting her, and he did not hear. Molly grew heartsick, caught at Schmendrick's arm, but the magician spoke on. Yet even when the wonder blossomed where she had been, sea white, as boundlessly beautiful as the bull was mighty, still the Lady Melinthia clung to herself for a moment more, She was no longer there, and yet her face hovered like a breath in the cold, reeky light. It would have been better if Prince Lur had not turned until she was gone, but he turned. He saw the unicorn, and she shone in him as in a glass. But it was to the other that he called, to the castaway, to the Lady of Malinthia. His voice was the end of her. She vanished when he cried her name, as though he had ca- crowed for a day. Things happened both swiftly and slowly as they do in dreams, where it is really the same thing. The unicorn stood very still, looking at them all out of lost, elsewhere eyes. She seemed even more beautiful than Schmendrick remembered, for no one can keep a unicorn in his head for long. And yet she was not as she had been, no more than he was. Molly Grew started toward her, speaking softly and foolishly, but the unicorn gave no sign that she knew her. The marvelous horn remained dull as rain. With a roar that set the walls of his lair belling out and cracking like a circus canvas, the Red Bull charged for the second time. The unicorn fled across the cave and into darkness. Prince Lur, in turning, had stepped a little to the side, and before he could wheel back again, the bull's plunging pursuit smashed him down, stunned, with his mouth open. Molly would have gone to him, but Schmendrick took hold of her and dragged her along for the Red Bull and the unicorn. After the Red Bull and the unicorn. Neither be- Neither beast was in sight, but the tunnel still thundered from their desperate passage. Dazed and bewildered, Molly stumbled beside the fierce stranger, who would neither let her fall nor slacken her pace. Over her head and all around she could feel the castle groaning, creaking in the rock like a loosening tooth. The witch's rhyme jangled in her memory over and over. Yet none but one of Hagsgate's town may bring the castle swirling down. Suddenly it was sand slowing their feet, and the smell of the sea, cold as the other smell, but so good, so friendly that they both stopped running and laughed aloud. Above them, on the cliff, King Haggard's castle splayed up toward a gray-green morning sky splashed with thin, milky clouds. Molly was sure that the king himself must be watching from one of the tremulous towers, but she could not see him. A few stars still fluttered in the heavy blue sky over the water. The tide was out, and the bald beach had the gray, wet gleam of a striped shellfish. But far down the strand, the sea was bending like a bow, and Molly knew that the ebb had ended. The unicorn and the Red Bull stood facing each other at the arch of the bow, and the unicorn's back was to the sea. The bull moved in slowly, not charging, but pressing her almost gently toward the water, never touching her. She did not resist him. Her horn was dark, and her head was down, and the bull was as much her master as he had been on the plain of Hagsgate, before she became the Lady of Malinthia. It might have been that same hopeless dawn, except for the sea. Yet she was not altogether beaten. She backed away until one hind foot actually stepped into the water. At that, she sprang through the sullen smolder of the Red Bull and ran away along the beach, so swift and light that the wind of her passing blew her footprints off the sand. The bull went after her. "Do something," a hoarse voice said to Schmendrick, as Molly had said it long ago. Prince Lur stood behind him, his face bloody and his eyes mad. He looked like King Haggard. "Do something," he said. "You have power. You changed her into a unicorn. Do something now to save her. I will kill you if you don't." He showed the magicians his hands. "I cannot," Schmendrick answered him quietly. Not all the magic in the world can help her now. If she will not fight him, she must go into the sea with the others. Neither magic nor murder will help her. Molly heard small waves slapping on the sand. The tide was beginning to turn. She saw no unicorns tumbling in the water, though she looked for them, willing them to be there. What if it's too late? What if they drifted out on the last ebb tide? Out to the deepest sea where no ships go, because of the kraken and the sea drake, and because of the floating jungles of wrack that tangle and drown even these. She will never find them. Would she stay with me? Then, what is magic for? Prince Lur demanded wildly. What use is wizardry if it cannot save a unicorn? He gripped the magician's shoulder hard to keep him from falling. Schmendrick did not turn his head. With a touch of sad mockery in his voice, he said, "That's what heroes are for." They could not see the unicorn for the hugeness of the bull, but suddenly she doubled on her track and came flying up the beach toward them, blind and patient as the sea. The Red Bull followed her, his hoofs gouging great ditches in the damp sand. Smoke and fire. Fire spray and storm, they came on together, neither one gaining, and Prince Lur gave a soft grunt of understanding. "Yes, of course," he said. "That is exactly what heroes are for. Wizards make no difference. So they say that nothing does, but heroes are meant to die for unicorns." He let go of Schmendrick's shoulder, smiling to himself. "There is a basic fallacy in your reasoning," Schmendrick began indignantly, but the prince never heard what it was. The unicorn flashed by them, her breath streaming blue-white and her head carried too high, and Prince Lur leaped into the path of the Red Bull. For a moment, he disappeared entirely. Like a feather in a flame, the bull ran over him and left him lying on the ground. One side of his face cuddled too hard into the sand, and one leg kicked the air 3 times before it stopped. He fell without a cry, and Schmendrick and Molly alike were stricken, as silent as he. But the unicorn turned. The Red Bull halted when she did, and wheeled to put her once more between himself and the sea. He began his he began his mincing, dancing advance again, but he might have been a courting bird for all the attention the unicorn paid him. She stood motionless, staring at the twisted body of Prince Lur. The tide was grumbling in hard now, and the beach was already a slice narrower. Whitecaps and skippers' daughters spilled up into the sprawling dawn, but Molly Grew still saw no other unicorn but her own. Over the castle the sky was scarlet, and on the highest tower King Haggard stood up as clear and black as a winter tree. Molly could see the straight scar of his mouth, and his nails darkening as he gripped the parapet. But the castle cannot fall now. Only Lur could have made it fall. Suddenly the unicorn screamed. It was not at all like the challenging bell with which she had first met the Red Bull. It was an ugly, squawking wail of sorrow and loss and rage, such as no immortal creature ever gave. The castle quaked, and King Haggard shrank back with one arm across his face. The Red Bull hesitated, shuffling in the sand, lowering doubtfully. The unicorn cried out again and reared up like a scimitar. The sweet sweep of her body made Molly close her eyes, but she opened them again in time to see the unicorn leap at the Red Bull, and the bull swerve out of her way. The unicorn's horn was light again, burning and shivering like a butterfly. Again she charged, and again the bull gave ground, heavy with perplexity but still quick as a fish. His own horns were the color of and likeness of lightning, and the slightest swing of his head made her stagger. But he retreated and retreated, backing steadily down the beach. As he as she had done oh, as she had done, she lunged after him, driving to kill. But she could not reach him. She might have been stabbing at a shadow or at a memory. So the Red Bull fell back without giving battle until she had stalked him to the water's edge. There he made his stand, with the surf swirling about his hoofs and the sand rushing away under them. He would neither fight nor fly, and she knew now that she could never destroy him. Still she set herself for another charge, while he muttered wonderingly in his throat. For Molly Grew, the world hung motionless in that glass moment, as though she were standing on a higher tower than King Haggard's. She looked down on a pale paring of land, where a toy man and woman stared with their knitted eyes at a clay bowl and a tiny ivory unicorn. Abandoned playthings. There was another doll, too, half buried, and a sand castle with a stick king propped up in one tilted turret. My bad. The tide would take it all in a moment, and nothing would be left but the flaccid birds of the beach, hopping in circles. Then Schmudrick shook her back to his side, saying, "Molly!" Far out to sea, the combers were coming in, the long, heavy rollers, curling over white across their green hearts, tearing themselves to smoke on the sandbars and the slimy rocks, rasping up the beach with a sound like fire. The birds flew up in yellow clumps, their strident outrage lost in the cry of the waves like pins, and in the whiteness, flowering in the tattered water, their bodies aching with the streaked marble hollows of the waves, their manes and tails and the fragile beards of the males burning in the sunlight, their eyes as dark and jeweled as the deep sea, and the shining of the horns, the seashell shining of the horns. The horns came riding in like the rainbow masts of silver ships. But they would not come to land while the bull was there. They rolled in the shallows, swirling together as madly as frightened fish when the nets are being hauled up, no longer with the sea, but losing it. Hundreds were borne in with each swell and hurled against the ones already struggling to keep from being shoved ashore, and they in their turn struck out desperately, rearing and stumbling, stretching their long, cloudy necks far back. The unicorn lowered her head one last time and hurled herself at the Red Bull. If he had been either true flesh or a windy ghost, the blow would have burst him like a rotten fruit. But he turned away, unnoticing, and walked slowly into the sea. The unicorns in the water floundered wildly to let him by, stamping and slashing the surf into a rolling mist, which their horns turned rainbow. But on the beach, and the top of the cliff, and up and down through all of Haggard's kingdom, the land sighed when his weight had passed from it. He strode out a long way before he began to swim. The hugest waves broke no higher than his hocks, and the timid tide ran away from him. But when at last he let himself sink onto the flood, then a great surge of the sea stood up behind him, a green and black swell, as deep and smooth and hard as the wind. It gathered in silence, folding from one horizon to the other, until, for a moment, it actually hit the Red Bull's humped shoulders and sloping back. Schmudrick lifted the dead prince, and he and Molly ran until the cliff's face stopped them. The wave fell like a cloudburst of chains. Then the unicorns came out of the sea. Molly never saw them clearly. They were a light leaping toward her, and a cry that dazzled her eyes. She was wise enough to know that no mortal was ever meant to see all the unicorns in the world, and she tried to find her own unicorn and look only at her. But there were too many of them, and they were too beautiful. Blind as a bull, she moved to meet them, holding out her arms. The unicorns would surely have run her down, as the Red Bull had trampled Prince Lur, for they were mad with freedom. But Schmendrick spoke, and they streamed to the right and left of Molly and Lur, and himself, some even springing over them, as the sea shatters on a rock and then comes swirling together again. All around Molly there flowed and flowered a light as impossible as snow set afire, while thousands of cloven hoofs sang by like cymbals. They stood very still, neither weeping nor laughing, for the joy was too great for her body to understand. "Look up," Schmendrick said. "The castle's falling." She turned and saw that the towers were melting as the unicorns sprang up the cliff and flowed around them, exactly as though they had been made out of sand and the sea were sliding in. The castle came down in great cold chunks that turned thin and waxen as they swirled in the air, until they disappeared. It crumbled and vanished without a sound, and it left no ruins either on land or in the memories of the two who had watched it fall. A minute later they could not remember where it had stood and how it had looked. But King Haggard, who was quite real, fell down through the wreckage of his disenchanted castle, like a knife dropped through clouds. Molly heard him laugh once, as though he had expected it. Very little ever surprised King Haggard. One second, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, I'm alive! Anyways, I'll finish this chapter. Okay? This is the last chapter, okay? So one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, Jesus. So long. Okay, I'll be right back. Actually, I'm not gonna be right. I am here. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Chapter 14. Once the sea had taken back their diamond-shaped hoofprints, there was no sign that they had ever been there, any more than King Haggard's castle had been. The only difference was that Molly Grew remembered unicorns very well. "It's good that she went without saying goodbye," she said to herself. "I would have been stupid. I'm going to be stupid in a minute, anyway. But it really is better like this." Then a warmth moved over her cheek and into her hair, like sunlight, and she turned and put her arms around the unicorn's neck. "Oh, you stayed," she whispered. "You stayed." She was about to be very foolish then, and ask, "Will you stay?" But the unicorn slipped gently from her, and moved to where Prince Lur lay with his dark blue eyes. Already losing their color. She stood over him as he had guarded the Lady Amelinthia. "She can restore him," Schmendrick said softly. "A unicorn's horn is proof against death itself." Molly looked closely at him, as she had not done for a long time, and she saw that he had come at last to his power and his beginning. She could not say how she knew, for no wild glory burned about him, and no recognizable omens occurred in his honor, just at that moment. He was Schmendrick the magician, as ever, and yet somehow it was for the first time. It was long that the unicorn stood by Prince Lur before she touched him with her horn. For all that her quest had ended joyously, there was weariness in the way she held herself, and a sadness in her beauty that Molly had never seen. It suddenly seemed to her that the unicorn's sorrow was not for Lur, but for the lost girl who could not be brought back, for the Lady Amelinthia, who might have lived happily ever after with the prince. The unicorn bowed her head, and her horn glanced across Lur's chin and clumsily as a first kiss. He sat up blinking, smiling at something long ago. "Father?" he said in a quick, wondering voice. "Father, I had a dream." Then he saw the unicorn, and he rose to his feet as the blood on his face began to shine and move again. He said, "I was dead." The unicorn touched him for a second time over the heart, letting her horn rest there for a little space. They were both trembling. Prince Lur put his hands out to her like words. She said, "I remember you. I remember." "When I was dead," Prince Lur began, but she was away. Not a stone rattled down after her. Not a bush tore out as she sprang up the cliff. She went as lightly as the shadow of a bird, and when she looked back, with one cloven hoof poised, and the sunlight on her sides, with her head and neck absurdly fragile for the burden of the horn, then each of the three below called to her in pain. She turned and vanished, but Molly Grew saw their voices thump home into her like arrows, and even more than she wished the unicorn back, she wished that she had not called. Prince Lur said, "As soon as I saw her, I knew that I had been dead. It was so the other time, when I looked down from my father's tower and saw her." He glanced up then and drew in his breath. It was the only sound of grief for King Haggard that any living thing ever made. "Was it I?" he whispered. "The curse said that I would be the one to bring the castle down, but I would never have done it. He was not good to me, but it was only because I was not what he had wanted. Is it my doing that he is fallen? Schmendrick replied. If you had not tried to save the unicorn, she would never have turned on the Red Bull and driven him into the sea. It was the Red Bull who made the overflow, and so set the other unicorns free. And it was they who destroyed the castle. Would you have it otherwise, knowing this? Prince Lur shook his head, but he said nothing. Molly asked, "But why did the bull run from her? Why didn't he stand and fight?" There was no sign of him when they looked out to sea, though he was surely too vast to have swum out of sight in so short a time. But whether he reached some other shore, or whether the water drew even his great bulk down at last, none of them knew until long after, and he was never seen again in that kingdom. The Red Bull never fights, Smerdrick said. He conquers, but he never fights. He turned to Prince Lur and put a hand on his shoulder. Now you are the king, he said. He touched Molly as well, said something that was more of a whistle than a word, and the three of them floated up the air like milkweed plumes to the top of the cliff. Molly was not frightened. The magic lifted her as gently as though she were a note of music and it were singing her. She could feel that it was never very far from being wild and dangerous, but she was sorry when it set her down. No stone of the castle remained, nor any scar. The earth was not even a shade paler where it had stood. Four young men in rusty ragged armor wandered, gaping through the vanished corridors, and turned around and around in the absence that had been the great hall. When they saw Lur, Molly, and Smedrick, they came running toward them, laughing. They fell on their knees before Lur and cried out together, "Your Majesty! Long live King Lur!" Lur blushed, and actually tried to pull them to their feet. "Never mind that," he mumbled. "Never mind that. Who are you?" He peered in amazement from one face to the next. "I know you. I do know you, but how can it be?" "It is true, your Majesty," the first of the young men said happily. "We are indeed King Haggard's men at arms, the same who served him for so many cold and weary years. We fled the castle after you disappeared into the clock, for the Red Bull was roaring and all the towers were trembling, and we were afraid. We knew that the old curse must be coming home at last." "A great wave took the castle," said a second man at arms, "exactly as the witch foretold. I saw it go spelling down the cliff as slowly as snow, and why we did not go with it I cannot tell." "The wave parted to go around us," another man said, "as I never saw any wave do. It was strange water, like the ghost of a wave boiling with a rainbow light, and for a moment it seemed to me—" He rubbed his eyes and shrugged, and smiled helplessly. "I don't know. It was like a dream." "But what has happened to you all?" Lur demanded. "You were old men when I was born, and now you are younger than I am. What miracle is this?" The three who had spoken giggled and looked embarrassed, but the fourth man replied, "It is the miracle of meaning what we said. Once we told the Lady Amalynthia that we would grow young again if she wished it so, and we must have been telling the truth. Where is she? We will go to her aid if it means facing the Red Bull himself." King Lur said, "She's gone. Find my horse and saddle him. Find my horse." His voice was harsh and hungry, and the men-at-arms scrambled to obey their new lord. But Schmendrick, standing behind him, said quietly, "Your Majesty, it may not be. You must not follow her." The king turned and he looked like Haggard. Magician, she is mine. He paused, and then went on in a gentler tone, close to pleading. She has twice raised me up from death, and what will I be without her, but dead for a third time? He shook Smandrick by the wrists, with a grip strong enough to powder bones, but the magician did not move. Lur said, I am not King Haggard. I have no wish to capture her, but only to spend my life following after her, miles, leagues, even years behind, never seeing her perhaps, but content. It is my right. A hero is entitled to his happy ending, when it comes at last. But Schmendrick answered, This is not the end, either for you or for her. You are the king of a wasted land, where there has never been any king but fear. Your true task has just begun, and you may not know in your life if you have succeeded in it, but only if you fail. As for her, she is a story with no ending, happy or sad. She can never belong to anything mortal enough to want her. Most strangely, then, he put his arms around the young king and held him so for a time. Yet be content, my lord, he said in a low voice. No man has ever had more of her grace than you, and no other will ever be blessed by her remembrance. You have loved her and served her. Be content and be king. But that is not what I want, Lor cried. The magician answered not a word, but only looked at him. Blue eyes stared back into green, a face grown lean and lordly, into one neither so handsome nor so bold. The king began to squint and blink, as though he were gazing at the sun, and it was not long before he lowered his eyes and muttered, So be it. I will stay and rule alone over a wretched people, in a land I hate. But I will have no more joy of my rule than poor Haggard ever had. A small autumn cat, with a crooked ear stalked out of some secret fold in the air and yawned at Molly. She caught him up against her face, and he tangled his paws in her hair. We must leave you now. Will you come with us and see us in friendship to the edge of your domain? There is much between here and there that is worth your study, and I can promise you that there will be some sign of unicorns. Then King Lur shouted for his horse again, and his men searched for it and found it, but there were none for Schmendrick and Molly. Yet when they came back with the king's horse, they turned at his amazed stare and saw two more horses trailing dastardly behind them, one black and one brown, and both already saddled and brindled. Schmendrick took the black for himself and gave the brown horse to Molly. She was afraid of them at first. Are they yours? She asked him. Did you make them? Can you do that now? Just make things? The king whisper echoed her wonder. I found them, the magician answered. But what I mean by finding is not what you mean. Ask me no more. He lifted her into the saddle and then leaped up himself. So the three of them rode away, and the men at arms followed on foot. No one looked back, for there was nothing to see, but King Lur said once, without turning, It is strange to have grown to manhood in a place, and then to have it gone, and everything changed, and suddenly to be king. Was none of it real at all? Am I real then? Schmendrick made no reply. King Lur wished to go swiftly, but Schmendrick held them to a leisurely pace in a roundabout road. When the king fretted for speed, he was admonished to consider his walking men, though they, marvelously, never tried for all of the length of the journey, never tired for all the length of the journey. But Molly soon understood that the magician was delaying in order to make Lure gaze long and closely at his realm, and to her own surprise, she discovered that the land was worth the look. For very slowly spring was coming to the barren country that had been Haggard's. A stranger would not have noticed the change, but Molly could see that the withered earth was brightening with a greenness and a greenness as shy as smoke. Squat, snuggly trees that had never yet bloomed were putting forth flowers in the wary way an army sends out scouts. Long dry streams were beginning to rustle in their beds, and small creatures were calling to one another. Smells slipped by in ribbons, pale grass and black mud, honey and walnuts, mint and hay, and rotting applewood, and even the afternoon sunlight had a tender, sneezy scent that Molly would have known anywhere. She rode beside Smendrick, watching the gentle advent of the spring and thinking of how it had come to her, late but lasting. Unicorns have passed here, she whispered to the magician. Is that the cause, or is it Haggard's fall? And the Red Bull's going. What is it? What is happening? Everything, he answered her. Everything, all at once. It is not one springtime, but 50, and not one or two great terrors flown away, but 1,000 small shadows lifted from the land. Wait and see. Speaking for Lure's ear, he added, nor is this the first spring that ever has been in this country. It was a good land long ago, and it wants little but a true king to be so again. See how it softens before you. King Lure said nothing, but his eyes roved left and right as he rode, and he could not but observe the ripening. Even the valley of Hagsgate, of evil memory, was stirring with all manner of wild flowers, columbine and harebell, lavender and lupin, foxglove and yarrow. The rutted footprints of the Red Bull were growing mellow and mallow. But when they came to Hagsgate, deep in the afternoon, a strange and savage sight awaited them. The ploughed fields were woefully torn and ravaged, while the rich orchards and vineyards had been stamped down, leaving no grove or arbor standing. It was such shattering ruin as the Red Bull himself might have wrought, but it seemed to Molly Grew as though 50 years' worth of foiled griefs had struck Hagsgate all at once, just as that many springtimes were at last warming the rest of the land. The trampled earth looked oddly ashen in the late light. King Lure said quietly, What is this? Right on, your majesty, the magician replied. Right on. The sun was setting as they passed through the overthrown gates of the town and guided their horses slowly down streets that were choked with boards and belongings and broken glass, with pieces of walls and windows, chimneys, chairs, kitchenware, roofs, bathtubs, beds, mantels, dressing tables. Every house in Hagsgate was down, everything that could be broken was. The town looked as though it had been stepped on. The people of Hagsgate sat on their doorsteps wherever they could find them, considering the wreckage. They had always had the air of paupers, even in the midst of plenty, and real ruin made them appear almost relieved, and no whit poorer. They hardly noticed Lure when he rode up to them, until he said, I am the king. What has befallen you here? It was an earthquake, one man murmured dreamily, but another contradicted him, saying it was a storm, a nor'easter straight off the sea. It shook the town to bits, and hail came down like hoofs. Still another man insisted that A mighty tide had washed over Hagsgate, a tide as white as dogwood and heavy as marble, that drowned none and smashed everything. King Lur listened to them all, smiling grimly. "Listen," he said when they were done. "King Haggard is dead. His castle has fallen. I am Lur, the son of Hagsgate, who was abandoned at birth in order to keep the witch's curse from coming true, and this from happening." He swept an arm around him at the burst houses. "Wretched, silly people. The unicorns have returned. The unicorns that you saw the Red Bull hunting and pretended not to see. It was they who brought the castle down, and the town as well. But it is your greed and your fear that have destroyed you." The townsfolk sighed in resignation, but a middle-aged woman stepped forward and said with some spirit, "It all seems a bit unfair, my lord, begging your pardon. What could have done to what could we have done to save the unicorns? We were afraid of the Red Bull. What could we have done?" "One word might have been enough," King Lur replied. "You'll never know now." He would have wheeled his horse and left them there, but a feeble, ruby voice called to him. "Lur! Little Lur, my child, my king!" Molly and Schmendrick recognized the man who came shuffling up with his arms open, wheezing and limping as though he were older than he truly was. It was Dren. "Who are you?" the king demanded. "What do you want from me?" Dren pawed at his stirrups, nuzzling his boots. "You don't know me, my boy?" "No. How should you? How should I deserve to have you know me? I am your father, your poor old overjoyed father. I am the one who left you in the marketplace on that winter night long ago, and handed you over to your heroic destiny. How wise I was, and how sad for so long, and how proud I am now. My boy, my little boy." He could not quite cry real tears, but his nose was running. Without a word, King Lur tugged at his horse's reins, backing him out of the crowd. Old Drin let his outstretched arms drop to his sides. "This is what it is to have children," he screeched. "Ungrateful son! Will you desert your father in the hour of his distress, when a word from your pet wizard would have set everything right again? Despise me if you will, but I have played my part in putting you where you are, and you dare not deny it. Villainy has its rights too." Still, the king would have turned away, but Schmendrick touched his arm and leaned near. "It's true, you know," he whispered. But for him, but for them all, the tale would have worked out quite another way. And who can say that the ending would have been even as happy as this? You must be their king, and you must rule them as kindly as you would a braver and more faithful folk, for they are a part of your fate. Then Lur lifted his hand to the people of Hagsgate, and they pushed and elbowed one another for silence. He said, "I must ride with my friends and keep them company for a way. But I will leave my men at arms here, and they will help you begin to build your town again. When I return in a little time, I also will help. I will not begin to build my new castle until I see Hagsgate standing once more." They complained bitterly that Schmendrick could do it all in a moment by means of his magic, but he answered them, "I could not, even if I would. There are laws that govern the wizard's art, as laws command the seasons and the sea. Magic made you wealthy once, when all others in the land were poor, but your days of prosperity are ended, and now you must start over. What was wasteland in Haggard's time shall grow green and generous again, but Hagsgate will yield a living exactly as miserably as the hearts that dwell there. You may plant your acres again and raise up your fallen orchards and vines, but they will never flourish as they used to, never, until you learn to take your joy in them for no reason. He gazed on the silent townfolk for no anger. Oh, he gazed on the silent townsfolk with no anger in his glance, but only pity. If I were you, I would have children, he said. And then King Lur. Oh, and then to King Lur. How says your majesty? Shall we sleep here tonight and be on our way at dawn? But the king turned and rode away out of ruined Hagsgate as fast as he could spur. It was long before Molly and the magician came up with him, and longer still before they lay down to sleep. For many days they journeyed through King Lur's domain, and each day they knew it less and delighted in it more. The spring ran on before them as swiftly as fire, clothing all that was naked and opening everything that had long ago shut up tight. Touching the earth as the unicorn had touched Lur, every sort of animal, from bears to black beetles, came sporting or shambling or scurrying along their way, and the high sky, that had been as sandy and arid as the soil itself, now blossomed with birds swirling so thickly that it seemed like sunset most of the day. Fish bent and flickered in the whisking streams, and wildflowers raced up and down the hills like escaped prisoners. All the land was noisy with life, but it was the silent rejoicing of the flowers that kept the three travelers awake at night. The folk of the villages greeted them cautiously, and with little less dourness than they had shown when Schmedrick and Molly first came that way. Only the oldest among them had ever seen the spring before, and many suspected the rampaging greenness of being a plague or an invasion. King Lur told them that Haggard was dead and the Red Bull gone forever, invited them to visit him when his new castle was raised, and passed on. They will need time to feel comfortable with flowers, he said. Wherever they stopped, he left word that all outlaws were pardoned, and Molly hoped that the news would come to Captain Cully and his merry band. As it happened, it did, and all the merry band immediately abandoned the life of the greenwood, saving only Cully himself and Jack Jingley. Together they took up the trade of wandering minstrels, and were reported to have become reasonably popular in the provinces. One night the three slept at the farthest frontier of Lur's kingdom, making their beds in high grass. The king would bid them farewell in the morning and return to Hagsgate. "It will be lonely," he said to the darkness. "I would rather go with you and not be king." "Oh, you'll get it to like it," Schmendrick replied. "The best young men of the village will make their way to your court, and you will teach them to be knights and heroes. The wisest of ministers will come to counsel you. The most skillful musicians and jugglers and storytellers will come seeking your favor, and there will be a princess in time, either fleeing her unspeakably wicked father and brothers, or seeking justice for them. Perhaps you will hear of her, shut away in a fortress of flint and adamant, her only companion a compassionate spider." "I don't care about that," King Lur said. He was silent for so long that Schmendrick thought he had fallen asleep, but presently he said, "I wish I could see her once more, to tell her all my heart. She will never know what I really meant to say. You did promise that I would see her." The magician answered him sharply. "I promised only that you would see some sign of unicorns, and so you have. Your realm is blessed beyond any lands deserving because they have passed across it in freedom. As for you and your heart, and the things you said and didn't say. She will remember them all when men are fairy tales and books written by rabbits. Think of that and be still. The king spoke no more after that, and Smedrick repented of his words. She touched you twice, he said in a little while. The first touch was to bring you to life again, but the second was for you. Lur did not answer, and the magician never knew if he had heard or not. Smedrick dreamed that the unicorn came and stood by him at moonrise. The thin night wind lifted and spilled her mane, and the moon shone on the snowflake crafting of her small head. He knew it was a beautiful dream, but he was happy to see her. How beautiful you are, he said. I never really told you. Oh, is this Smedrick? Yeah. He would have roused the others, but her eyes sang him oh, a warning as clearly as two frightened birds, and he knew that if he moved to call Molly and Lur, he would wake himself, and she would vanish. So he said only, they love you more, I think, though I do the best I can. That is why, she said, and he could not tell what she was answering. He lay very still, hoping that he would remember the exact shape of her ears when he did wake in the morning. She said, You're a true and mortal wizard now, as you always wished. Does it make you happy? Yes, he replied in a quiet laugh. I'm not poor haggard, to lose my heart's desire in the having of it. But there are wizards and wizards. There's a black magic and white magic, and the infinite shades of gray between. And I see now that it is all the same. Whether I decide to be what men would call a wise and good magician, aiding heroes, thwarting witches, wicked lords, and unreasonable parents, making rain, curing wool sorters disease, and the mad staggers, getting cats down from trees, or whether I choose the retorts full of elixirs and essences, the powders and herbs and banes, the padlocked books of gramarye, bound in skins better left unnamed, the muddy mist darkening in the chamber, and the sweet voice lisping therein. Why, life is short, and how many can I help or harm? I have my power at last, but the world is still too heavy for me to move, though my friend Lur might think otherwise. And he laughed again in his dream, a little sadly. The unicorn said, That is true. You're a man, and men can do nothing that makes any difference. But her voice was strangely slow and burdened. She asked, Which will you choose? The magician laughed for a third time. Oh, it will be kind magic, undoubtedly, because you would like it more. I do not think that I will ever see you again, but I will try to do what would please you if you knew. And you, where will you go? Oh, where will you be for the rest of my life? I thought you would have gone home to your forest by now. She turned a little away from him, and the sudden starlight of her shoulders made all his talk of magic taste like sand in his throat. Moths and midges and other night insects too small to be anything in particular came and danced slowly around her bright horn, and this did not make her appear foolish, but them most wise and lovely as they celebrated her. Molly's cat rubbed in and out between her forefeet. The others have gone, she said. They are scattered to the woods they came from. No two together, and men will not catch sight of them much more easily than if they were still in the sea. I will go back to my forest too. But I do not know if I will live contentedly there anywhere, or anywhere. I have been mortal, and some part of me is mortal yet. I am full of tears and hunger, and the fear of death, though I cannot weep, and I want nothing, and I cannot die. I am not like the others now, for no unicorn was ever born who could regret, but I do. I regret. Smendrick hid his face like a child, though he was a great magician. I am sorry. I am sorry, he mumbled into his wrist. I have done you evil, as Nikos did to the other unicorn, with the same good will, and I can no more undo it than he could. Mama Fortuna and King Haggard and the Red Bull together were kinder to you than I. But she answered him gently, saying, My people are in the world again. No sorrow will live in me as long as that joy. Thank you. Save one, and I thank you for that too. Farewell, good magician. I will try to go home. She made no sound when she left him, but he was awake, and the crook-eared cat was meowing lonesomely. Turning his head, he saw the moonlight trembling in the open eyes of King Lur and Molly Grew. The three of them lay awake till morning, and nobody said a word. At dawn, King Lur rose up and saddled his horse. Before he mounted, he said to Schmendrick and Molly, I would like it if you came to see me one day. They assured him that they would, but still he lingered with them, twisting the dangling reins about his fingers. I dreamed about her last night, he said. Molly cried, So did I! And Schmendrick opened his mouth and then closed it again. King Lur said hoarsely, By our friendship, I beg you, tell me what she said to you. His hands gripped one hand of each of theirs, and his clutch was cold and painful. Schmendrick gave him a weak smile. My lord, I so rarely remember my dreams. It seems to me that we spoke solemnly of silly things, as one does. Grave nonsense, empty and evanescent. The king let go of his hand and turned his half-mad gaze on Molly Grew. I'll never tell, she said, a little frightened, but flushing gaudily. I remember, but I will never tell anyone, if I die for it. Not even you, my lord. She was not looking at him as she spoke, but at Schmendrick. King Lur let her hand fall as well, and he swung himself into the saddle so fiercely that his horse reared up across the sunrise, bulging like a stag. But Lur kept his seat and glared down at Molly and Schmendrick with a face so grim and scored and sunken that he might well have been king as long as Haggard before him. She said nothing to me, he whispered. Do you understand? She said nothing to me. Nothing at all. Then his face softened, as even King Haggard's face had gone a little gentle when he watched the unicorns in the sea. For that moment he was again the young prince who had liked to sit with Molly in the scullery. He said, She looked at me. In my dreams she looked at me and never spoke. He rode away without a goodbye, and they watched after him until the hills hid him, a straight, sad horseman, going home to be king. Molly said at last, Oh, the poor man, poor Lur. He has not fared so badly, the magician answered. Great heroes need great sorrows and burdens, or half their greatness goes unnoticed. It is all part of the fairy tale. But his voice was a little doubtful, and he laid his arms softly around Molly's shoulders. It cannot be an ill fortune to have loved a unicorn, he said. Surely it must be dearest luck of all, though the hardest earned. By and by he put her as far from him as his fingers' ends and asked her, "Now, will you tell me what it was she said to you?" But Molly Grew only laughed and shook her head till her hair came down, and she was more beautiful than the Lady Amelinthia. The magician said, "Very well, then I'll find the unicorn again, and perhaps she will tell me." And he turned calmly to whistle up their steeds. She said no word while he saddled his horse, but when he began on her own, she put her hand on his arm. "Do you think, do you truly hope that we may find her? There was something I forgot to say." Schmendrick looked at her over his shoulder. The morning sunlight made his eyes seem gay as grass, but now and then, when he stooped into the horse's shadow, there stirred a deep greenness in his gaze, the green of pine needles that has a faint, cool bitterness about it. He said, "I fear it, for her sake. It would mean that she too is a wanderer now, and that is a fate for human beings, not for unicorns. But I hope, of course, I hope." Then he smiled at Molly and took her hand in his. "Anyway, since you and I must choose one road to follow, out of the many that run to the same place in the end, it might as well be a road that a unicorn has taken. We may never see her, but we will always know where she has been. Come then, come with me." So they began their new journey, which took them in its time in and out of most of the folds of the sweet, wicked, wrinkled world, and so at last to their own strange and wonderful destiny. But that was all later and first. Not 10 minutes out of Lur's kingdom, they met a maiden who came hurrying toward them on foot. Her dress was torn and smirched, but the richness of its making was still plain to see, and though her hair was tumbled and brambled, her arms scratched, and her fair face dirty, there was no mistaking her for any one but a princess in woeful distress. Schmendrick lighted down to support her, and she clutched him with both hands as though he were a grapefruit whole. "A rescue!" she cried to him. "A rescue! Ah, succours! And ye be a man of mettle and sympathy. Aid me now. I am hight the Princess Alison Jocelyn, daughter of good King Giles, and him foully murdered by his brother, the bloody Duke Wolf, who hath ta'en my 3 brothers, the Princess Corin, Colin, and Calvin, and cast them into a fell prison as hostages, that I will wed with his fat son, the Lord Dudley. But I bribed and the sentinel and stopped the dogs." But Schmendrick the magician raised his hand, and she fell silent, staring up at him in wonder out of wide lilac eyes. "Fair princess," he said gravely to her, "the man you want just went that way." And he pointed back toward the land they had so lately quitted. "Take my horse, and you will be up with him while your shadow is still behind you." He cupped his hands for the Princess Alison Jocelyn, and she climbed warily and in some bewilderment to the saddle. Schmendrick turned the horse, saying, "You will surely overtake him with ease, for he will be riding slowly. He is a good man, and a hero greater than any cause is worth. I send all my princesses to him. His name is Lur." Then he slapped the horse on the rump and sent it off the way King Lur had gone. And then he laughed for so long that he was too weak to get up behind Molly, and had to walk beside her horse for a while. When he caught his breath again, he began to sing, "Oh God, I don't feel like singing. And she joined him. And this is what they sang as they went away together, out of this story and into another. I am no king and I am no lord, I am no soldier at arms, said he. I am none but a harper, and a very poor harper, that am come hither to wed with thee. If you were a lord, you should be my lord, and the same if you were a thief, said she. And if you are a harper, you shall be my harper, for it makes no matter to me, for it makes no matter to me. But what if it prove that I am no harper, that I lied for you to love most monstrously? Why then I'll teach you to play and sing, for I dearly love a good harp, said she. Oh my goodness, I can't sing, guys, for real. Not right now. But anyways, that's the ending. And that's it. My boyfriend got me a nice coconut milk drink. Very nice, very soothing. Guys, I must say I have to end this stream now. I am sleepy. I'm tired. I have to be ready for my orientation tomorrow. Thank you so much for chatting with me. Yes, muchas. Oh wait, I don't know. I'm gonna call you Mocha. I am waiting. Oh, goodbye, Olivia. Sorry guys. Let me finish. I have to read the comments that were left. Hi, Sumber. Yeah, I tried my best to stay hydrated. Reading takes a lot from your throat. Did you guys know that? Especially if you use voices. Hi, Silly Scissors. Welcome back, Lucy. Thank you for listening to me read. Hi, Nestor. Hello. And Neville. Hi. Welcome back, Jack Jack. You didn't even type all this time. It's okay. You don't have to type. I see you did change your PFP. It is now a Demon Slayer character. Thank you for listening and enjoy your music. Goodbye. And you said, what song should I listen to while I play Minecraft tournament? I would say anything by the Black Eyed Peas. They have a lot of energy and it makes you feel really good. It pumps you up. I like the Black Eyed Peas. Boom Boom Boom. I like that song too. I like it a lot. I am alive, Jewel. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I really do must be going now. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Stay hydrated. Have a great night or day. And bye. Alright, Mota. Good luck. And only subscribe if you like what you see. Okay? Good luck. Goodbye, everybody.